After entering the book, I became a lackey of the vicious female supporting role. She is an unforgivable villain in the book, and she even bullies the little white flower heroine in school. I was so angry when I was reading the book. I was planning to cut off ties with her in a second, but as soon as I came through, she handed me a card. Here. There is 500,000 yuan here, spend it as you like. The story is about to begin. If you like it, remember to like and follow. The vicious female supporting role. No, the rich sister handed me the card and frowned. I heard that David will bring that bitch to the birthday party in 3 months. Please help me think about what I can wear to outshine her. David is the hero in this article. The domineering school prince falls in love with me. In the original story, the vicious female supporting character, no, the rich sister, gave up the opportunity to study abroad for her childhood sweetheart David, and attended this aristocratic high school together. Unexpectedly, the uneducated David was attracted to the pretty girl as soon as he came in. Then the rich sister Jenny, together with her lackey, that is, me, bullied the pretty girl. In the end, he was retaliated by David, his family business went bankrupt, and he himself was imprisoned. The birthday party was the beginning of her being spurned by David. I came to my senses and looked up and down at Jenny in front of me. She had long legs, a thin waist and long wavy hair. Although she was wearing a school uniform, her slim and graceful figure could still be seen. Is David blind if he doesn't want such a beautiful girlfriend? What? Jenny raised an eyebrow. Who are you saying is blind? Oh no, I accidentally said what was in my heart. I quickly tried to make amends. Little one, ah bah. What I meant is, with a beauty like you, David must be blind to fall for someone else. After hearing what I said, Jenny's expression lightened up a little. Why are you so talkative today? Of course, who can refuse a beautiful boss who offers 500,000? I repositioned myself within a second. Come on Jenny, I'll take you to pick out a dress now. Outshine the whole audience. Although I don't know why I entered this world, my principle is that no matter where I go, even if it is a pigsty, I will occupy the most comfortable nest. Therefore, as a qualified lackey, making my boss Jenny live a good life is my current primary goal. I took Jenny and rushed to the most upscale custom dress shop in the city. Isn't this bad? Jenny hesitated. I think David seems to like girls who are more plain recently. You don't understand this, Jenny. I persuaded her. Think about it, for a man of David's status, his preference for simplicity is only temporary. On such occasions, he would certainly want his female companion to be gorgeous and beautiful as well. In the original text, the supporting actress dressed very simply to match the male lead's aesthetic taste. As a result, at the birthday party, she was mocked by the male protagonist for imitating others and lost face in the upper-class society. Sure enough, after listening to me, Jenny nodded hesitantly. What you said seems to make sense. Well, let's try it. I quickly found the 2 most gorgeous dresses in the entire dress shop, one inlaid with diamonds and the other with crystals. Sure enough, the moment Jenny put it on, she lit up the entire venue like a princess. Elegant, so elegant. I waved my hand and said, pack these 2 for me. Then I took Jenny to customize the corresponding jewelry and shoes. When she went out, she was still worried. This is too luxurious, right? Sister, no, Jenny, think about how beautiful and confident you were before. I put my arm around her shoulders and said, as the saying goes, the premise of loving someone is to love yourself, so if you want David to love you, you must love yourself first. She nodded thoughtfully. We returned to school together, and as we were about to walk in, we suddenly bumped into someone. The girl in school uniform fell to the ground. Oops. The girl in front of me was wearing worn clothes and was holding a cup of coffee in her hand. A beautiful face with a bit of stubbornness, but biting her lower lip, refusing to let the tears in her eyes fall. Before I could react, a male voice rang out next to me. Stop. Jenny. Why are you bullying Elena again? My eyes widened instantly when I heard the name. My goodness, Elena, isn't that the little white flower heroine? So the man in front of me who cannot distinguish between right and wrong and who uses moral blackmail is the protagonist of this article, David? David helped Elena up and looked at Jenny with a sullen face. I warned you a long time ago, stay away from Elena. Don't challenge my bottom line repeatedly just because we grew up together. I didn't. Jenny yelled angrily. She just bumped into me and made my clothes dirty. Yes, Elena's coffee spilled all over us, and Jenny's white uniform was soaked in deep brown. Seeing Jenny's face flushed with anger, Elena bit her lip and said weakly, Jenny, I will compensate you for your clothes. Compensation? Jenny screamed, this uniform costs 50,000 yuan a set, can you afford it? This is indeed the truth, but it sounds more like sarcasm to Elena, who comes from a poor family and has a stubborn personality. Her face immediately turned pale and she took 2 steps back. David, on the other hand, supported Elena with a sullen face and glared at us. Is it so great to be rich? There are $500,000 in here. Is it enough to compensate for your clothes? Seeing the card thrown on the ground, David hugged Elena and walked away. Jenny stood there with a pale face, pulling my hand as if asking for help. Fanny, I'm in trouble again. Quick, help me. I nodded in understanding, and shouted at David's back with a serious face, hey, brother. You haven't told me the password yet. This time, David was obviously angry with Jenny. I heard that after Elena returned, she worked part-time day and night to pay back Jenny's money, and finally fainted in a physical education class. David picked up the princess and rushed to the hospital in public. After he came out of the hospital, he ignored Jenny and even ran up to her and said to her with a sullen face, David, will never have any feelings for you in this life, the next life, or eternity. If you target Elena again, I will definitely make you pay the price. Jenny was so angry that she yelled in front of me, that bitch obviously did something wrong. And she blamed it on me. Quick. Call someone for me, I want someone to beat her up. Oh my god. In the original text, Elena's tragic fate began when Jenny asked someone to beat her. As a loyal lackey, I quickly stopped her. Sister, do you think beating Elena up can solve all the problems? Jenny seemed to be thinking, you mean, 1 meal is not enough, should we have more meals? There's no hope. Why does such a beautiful woman have such violent thoughts? I simply followed her words and said, Sister, since we hate Elena, we should start with what she cares about most. Suppressing her where she cares most is the only way to deal her a fatal blow. Jenny nodded seriously, you're right. Then what does she care about most? Grades. In the original text, Elena is a very inspirational person. Although she came from a poor family, she was very motivated. In the aristocratic high school, she didn't care about food or clothing, but only cared about her academic ranking. Even at the beginning, David tried to get close to her by sending her tutoring materials. I asked Jenny to change back into her old clothes and enrolled her in 100 or 80 tutoring classes. Jenny was shocked. In this case, how can I get close to David? You want to be as tall as him? Look at your grades. Are they okay? Facing Jenny's sharp eyes, I quickly swallowed the following complaints. Look, Elena's grades are so good, David must like girls with good grades. He is the top student in the class and you are the bottom student. There is no way David would like you. Jenny nodded thoughtfully, you have a point. In order to make David like me, I must study hard. Under the siege of 6 top tutors, Jenny soon had no time to pay attention to Elena. Even David had a gloomy face at first, thinking that Jenny was up to something new, but was shocked when he found out that she was actually studying hard. Soon, Jenny safely got through the scene where she was supposed to beat up Elena. I was very pleased, but that afternoon I saw Elena standing outside the classroom window. What is Jenny doing? Studying. I said complacently, how is it? No one has bothered you recently. If no one disturbs Elena, maybe Elena can study hard and live her own life. Unexpectedly, she bit her lower lip and said, she is trying so hard, is she trying to outdo me and continue to humiliate me? Although Jenny did think so, I couldn't expose my boss's true thoughts to outsiders. I said seriously, you are wrong, our boss. No, Jenny, I just want to learn. Elena, you are so outstanding, why don't you do something about your own work? Elena bit her lip again, glanced at Jenny unwillingly, and turned away. That afternoon, when we were studying, the classroom door was suddenly broken down by David. He rushed over, grabbed Jenny by the collar, and gritted his teeth and said, Jenny, what did you do to Elena again? What did I do? Jenny looked confused. I got this math problem wrong? Stop pretending. David gritted his teeth. Did you ask someone to bully Elena? She cried all afternoon and refused to say who did it. I guessed it was you. I didn't. Jenny was shocked. I didn't do anything. I was studying the whole time. Did she get beaten up by others because she was not popular? You are still slandering Elena at this time. David looked at her disappointedly. Elena knew I was coming to see you, but she kept stopping me and told me not to cause trouble for you. That's how you repay her, isn't it? I didn't hit her, so of course you shouldn't make trouble for me. Jenny's brain finally worked, and she tried to teach the brainless David, then there's no question of repaying. The so-called repaying means. Enough. David narrowed his eyes. Jenny, if you make Elena sad, I will make you pay. You wait. Then he waved his hand and turned away, leaving us two beauties standing there. Jenny was stunned for a moment, then slapped herself. What the hell is my life like? How can I offend people just because I can't do math problems while sitting in the classroom? David can do what he says. Ever since he came over and made some harsh remarks last time, he started to take sanctions against Jenny. The so-called sanctions were to ignore Jenny, not eat the things Jenny sent, and intercept an order from Jenny's family group. Although in my opinion, compared with the original plot, this is just a childish play. But to Jenny, it was like a huge blow. David has never treated me like this before, woo woo woo. She wiped her tears. Damn Elena, I must find someone to kill her. Seeing the boss taking out her phone to call someone again, I quickly slapped her phone away and said, wake up, boss. Are you going to do this for a man? I don't know why I was punished even though there was no bullying. But at least it is lighter than the original plot. If Jenny were to hit someone again, I'm afraid the result would be the same as the original plot. But David ignores me now. She said with tears in her eyes, I've already been a bad guy, so I might as well prove my guilt. I just don't like Elena anyway. Huh? I actually think she has a point. But when I thought about the series of drastic measures David took against Jenny's family group after he witnessed Jenny beating Elena in the original plot, I still sincerely grabbed her hand and advised, to capture a man's heart, you must not be a bootlicker. Our target is David, it's useless for you to hit Elena. The first thing to do is to change yourself. Jenny felt wronged. Really? Last time you told me to study, but David ignored me. Having lost my credibility, I decisively opened Jihu and showed her all the novels about chasing wives to the crematorium. I was sure that there was not a single heroine who would shamelessly gossip and beat others after breaking up. After watching it all night, Jenny was finally brainwashed. He nodded with sudden enlightenment. So I should make a shining debut now and find a second male lead to stimulate him, right? Yeah, that's right, right. The first step was for me to take her off her gray school uniform. In the original plot, in order to please David, Jenny made herself as dirty as Elena every day. Her beauty is of the strong variety, unlike Elena's pure beauty. Therefore, those school uniforms could not bring out her strengths when worn on her. As time went by, Jenny, who was once known as the school belle of a middle school together with Elena, seemed to be overshadowed and became Elena's foil. But now, Jenny is standing in front of the mirror, gorgeous and charming. I'm afraid that when the newbie in the entertainment industry comes, they will have to give in a little. I took a few photos and posted them on her moments. Sure enough, after a while, Jenny's cell phone rang. As soon as she saw the two big words David flashing on the screen, she excitedly shook my hand. Oh my God. David really came to see me. I patted her hand soothingly, asked her to calm down, and then answered the phone. David's voice came from the other end. Jenny, what do you mean? I lowered my voice and imitated Jenny's cold tone and said, what do you mean? He was furious. You bullied Elena, but now you are living a life of luxury. Are you protesting against me? Demonstration? Jenny is a beautiful woman. She just wore a dress according to her own spending level and posted a circle of friends, and it was considered a protest? Jenny's face froze upon hearing this. David continued to sneer. Elena is crying now after seeing the circle of friends. If you know what's best for you, delete the circle of friends and apologize to her immediately. Otherwise, don't even think about seeing me again in the future. Chapter 6. David and Elena in the original novel are a perfect pair of Mary Sues, the kind of people who are said to be willing to bury the entire school for the sake of the heroine. If you ask me why I read this book, it's purely out of boredom. Looking at the lost Jenny in front of me, I sighed deeply. Just as I was about to persuade her, she spoke first. It's so strange. It's okay that he blamed me before, but I didn't do anything. Why is he blaming me? Jenny frowned and said, I'm just showing off my life. I'm not bullying anyone else. Why should I be threatened by others? Wow, this is the first time the vicious female supporting character has realized her mistake. I quickly struck while the iron was hot. Then forget about him, let's live our own lives. You can only live a good life if you stay away from this guy. In order to help my boss forget the bad luck as soon as possible, I quickly arranged for her to find a low-key, introverted, handsome academic guy to be her study companion. This handsome young man stood in front of us, lowered his head and blushed as he whispered, "Hello, my name is. I asked in confusion, "You don't even know your own name?" Could it be that the intelligence was wrong and they found a mentally retarded person? No, it's not. The handsome boy waved his hands quickly, looked at Jenny in front of him, and blushed again. I'm just nervous. My name is Robert, Jenny, I am glad to study with you. After saying that, Robert bowed deeply. I smiled and poked Jenny beside me. Hey, say something. Isn't it a bad idea for me to do this? Looking at the young Robert in front of her, Jenny whispered to me, he seems to really like me. Using him to make David jealous doesn't feel good. Hey. The second female lead actually found her conscience. I was very pleased. Isn't it better to like you? This makes it more realistic. Seeing Jenny was about to say something, I pushed her in and said, "Come in quickly, the monthly exam will be here soon. Study hard, study hard." It seems that Robert really likes Jenny and blushes easily. He seemed like a reliable person. He was extremely serious when teaching Jenny math problems, and his eyes revealed clear tenderness. Soon, the tutoring session was over. Robert stood up slightly and said to Jenny with a red face, I will take you back. He pursed his lips, as if he was afraid of being rejected. Don't worry, I will only send you to the classroom door. No, there will be no misunderstanding. For some reason, Jenny also blushed. She nodded in a rare gentle manner and said softly, yeah. When I walked into the classroom, I saw Elena memorizing words. She had her hair tied in a ponytail and was wearing a simple school uniform. She seemed stunned when she saw Jenny and Robert standing together. Then, he lowered his eyes and was stunned again when he saw Jenny, who was still dressed gorgeously. Only then did I realize that after Jenny changed her clothes and stood next to Elena, her appearance was even better than Elena's. Jenny. Elena bit her lower lip and forced a smile. This is a school. I'm afraid it's not a good idea for you to dress like this. What's wrong with it? Jenny looked at her body in confusion. Isn't this pretty? You'll easily cause trouble to other students if you dress like this. Elena raised her chin stubbornly. School is a place for learning, not a place for beauty competition. As students, it's better for us to be simple. What's bothering you? Jenny turned around and asked Robert, am I bothering you? No. Robert answered simply, I think it looks pretty good. Seeing Robert say this, Elena was obviously stunned. Classmate Robert. Elena bit her lower lip. How come even you have changed? She suddenly raised her voice. Jenny, are you walking with Robert on purpose because David ignored you? She blinked her big eyes and said, but this is very unfair to Robert. I don't know why, but when I saw the look in Elena's eyes when she looked at Robert, I felt something was wrong. As soon as the words came out of her mouth, Jenny panicked visibly. She subconsciously looked at Robert and stammered, I don't. Seeing Jenny like this, Elena's eyes flashed with a barely perceptible smugness. She shook her head again, looking disappointed. Jenny, even though you like David, this is really hurtful to the senior. She faced Robert and said earnestly, I'm sorry, Senior Robert, I apologize to you on behalf of Jenny. She just cares too much about David, and it's my fault. David has been treating me like this lately. Anyway, Jenny didn't mean it, so please don't be angry with her. In Jenny's guilty eyes, Robert turned his head slightly and looked at her. In Elena's smug eyes, he said slowly, I don't care. Robert held Jenny's hand and looked into her eyes. It's Jenny's freedom to like whoever she wants. Even if it's just exploitation, as long as she is happy. I just don't care. The incident ended with Elena in disbelief and Jenny stunned. Back at the villa, Jenny was still in a daze, shaking my hand repeatedly. You said Robert, why isn't he angry? I said, people like you. But what does he like about me? Jenny twisted her fingers. Me, I have a bad temper and poor grades. At this moment, her face was slightly red, and she looked like a normal shy girl. I asked Jenny in return, what do you like about David? I found that as long as she was away from Elena's stimulation, Jenny's reactions were actually quite normal. Although he is a bit cocky and spoiled, he is not the kind of person who bullies his classmates at every turn as described in the original book. She thought for a moment and said, it feels like we grew up together. I haven't thought about why. When I was little, my parents told me that I would marry David when I grew up, so I never thought about anything else but just waiting to marry him when I grew up. Then don't treat him as your fiancé now. I lifted Jenny's shoulders, looked into her eyes and said seriously, you are a free individual, not a fulfiller of promises. You have your own life. Just like Robert said today, you can date anyone, and you don't even need to date anyone. Just try your best to do what you want to do and be who you want to be, that's the most important thing. Is that so? Jenny was skeptical and pursed her lips in thought. I don't know if these words had some effect on her, but Jenny never mentioned David again in the next few days. She studied with Robert every day and her grades improved dramatically. In my spare time, I dress up and participate in English competitions from time to time. Soon, people on campus noticed the changes in Jenny. A rich girl who no longer lost her temper, was beautiful, generous to others, and hardworking and ambitious, soon became popular among her classmates. In the next monthly exam, my score unexpectedly made it into the top 100. We met Elena several times on the road, and every time she bit her lip and looked at us coldly. But no matter what, Jenny finally got rid of David's influence temporarily. Perhaps the terrible things in the original book will no longer happen. Until this day, Jenny called me out of the blue. She cried, "What should I do, Fanny? My dad is sick. The company goes bankrupt?" I suddenly remembered that this plot was in the original text. Originally, Jenny's family group and David's family group were on par with each other, but then Jenny's father suddenly fell ill and missed an important order. Elena secured this order for David. It is also for this reason that Elena has a wonderful fate with the important client Mr. Liu. In the end, he used Mr. Liu's power to torture Jenny to death in prison. Counting the days, that important customer will arrive in City A today. Without further ado, I took Jenny to the hotel where the important client was staying. Jenny wiped her tears and said, "Why are we here? My dad is still sick, I need to go back and take care of him. Of course I'm helping your family get the order." I advised her, "Your father is like this, isn't he just anxious about the order? If you want your father to get better, go and help him get what he wants most." It must be said that Jenny is still very filial. When she heard what I said, she wiped her tears and ran towards the hotel with a determined look in her eyes. Sure enough, when I arrived downstairs at the hotel, I saw Elena greeting guests at the door from afar. What to do? At this time, she also raised her head and saw us. She was stunned for a moment and subconsciously asked, "Why are you here?" Let's come over here and play." I put my arm around Jenny's shoulder and looked inside. It seems that the important customer hasn't arrived yet. Then hurry in. Elena said unnaturally, "It's hot outside. It's not a place for you rich people to stay." "It's okay, we'll just wait outside for a while, you standing here is hindering my work." Elena frowned and said, "If you are here to cause trouble to me because of David, please leave immediately. You think too much." I said, "We just come here to enjoy the cool air." "Just kidding, if I go in at this time. The Jenny family group could declare bankruptcy directly next month." She looked at the time, suddenly became anxious, and pushed me away. "I let you in." This sudden attack caught me off guard, and I fell to the ground in an instant, feeling a sharp pain in my elbow. At this moment, there was a sudden commotion at the door. "Someone come quickly, oh no. Someone fainted." At this moment, in front of a luxury car at the door, a gray-haired old man was slowly falling down. He covered his chest with his hands, his expression very painful. "Hurry!" Ignoring the wound on my hand, I yelled to Jenny, "Don't worry about me. Go save people." Jenny nodded and quickly ran towards the old man. Behind her, Elena, dressed as a waitress, followed closely. When she was almost there, she rushed forward, pushed Jenny in front of her away, then helped the old man up and called out, sir, are you okay?" Her tone was very gentle, completely different from when she pushed me just now. The driver nearby said anxiously, "Our old man is having a heart attack. Who of you has medicine?" "Well, I have medicine." "Please wait a moment." Elena smiled at him and then quickly reached into her arms. After taking 2 tries, her expression froze. Then, she reached in twice in disbelief. I looked at her in confusion, propped myself up with my hands, and accidentally touched a small bottle. Oh shit. It turned out that when Elena pushed me down just now, she dropped the medicine bottle on the ground. "I have medicine." On the other side, Jenny helped the old man up without hesitation, took out a heart pill from her bag, helped him take it, and then patted him on the back. He instructed the panicked driver, "The weather is too hot, send the man inside to rest. Call 120. Soon, the old man was sent to the hotel to rest. I held Jenny's hand and followed behind her, praying in my heart, please remember Jenny, please remember Jenny. Otherwise, Jenny's family would really be finished. After finally helping to get Mr. Liu into the hotel, we were so tired that we sat in the lobby to rest. While sitting in the lobby waiting, Elena looked very unhappy. She bit her lip, looked at Jenny and me, and suddenly said, "Why did you suddenly come out and disturb me from saving people? Jenny, you just can't stand seeing me do well?" Jenny looked up at Elena in confusion, and Elena stared at her with red eyes. It was obviously me who discovered that Mr. Liu fell first, and I was the first to help him up. "Why are you coming up here to take the credit for what I did? You just can't stand the fact that David likes me, so you're against me everywhere. I don't know who he is, I just saved him." Jenny was also angry, "And what does it have to do with David? I haven't contacted him for 800 years. Elena's eyes were red, and she looked even more aggrieved than Jenny. "Don't think I don't know, this is called playing hard to get. If you weren't here to steal my credit, why would you carry a bottle of medicine with you?" "My dad has a heart disease, so I carry it with me." Jenny frowned and shouted, "Big sister! If you have delusions, why don't you go to the hospital? Don't go crazy for no reason." Elena's face turned red with anger. He opened his mouth and was about to say something when an old voice suddenly came from behind him. "So, this is how Lou was saved." Mr. Liu, who was weak just now, stood at the door of the hall with the help of his secretary. He stopped in front of Jenny and said in a surprised tone, "Oh, I remember you. You are the daughter of Jiang Hai." He looked at Jenny kindly and said, "You are so filial. I am also benefiting from your father's kindness." Yes, Mr. Liu has no children. Therefore, he attaches great importance to filial sons, and in the original plot he treats Elena, who saved him, as his own daughter. Jenny blushed and said embarrassedly, "No, I'm usually very ignorant and made my dad worry a lot. A good child is one who keeps his father's safety in mind." Mr. Liu patted Jenny's hand and said with relief, "It seems that I should have a good talk with your father this time. It's been a long time since we last met. This means there's drama." Jenny glanced at me happily. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in the air, "Jenny, I'm leaving first." Elena stood up with her bag on her back, pursed her lips and said, "Don't be angry, I just heard you say that poor people are bad, and I was a little angry. Now that I see Mr. Liu is awake, I feel relieved and I am leaving." Jenny was stunned. "Hey, when did I ever tell you that?" Seeing Jenny getting angry, Elena visibly flinched. She bit her lip and waved her hand. No, I didn't say it was bad, I was wrong. Don't be angry, I'm leaving now." Just as she turned around, Mr. Liu suddenly spoke, "Little girl, wait a minute. It was you who held me up just now, right?" "Oh shit." I squeezed Jenny's hand. "How did you notice, Elena? Could it be that it will be the same as the original plot? Have we done anything in vain?" In my nervous eyes, Elena showed a hint of joy in her eyes. She bit her lip and nodded, "Yes, Mr. Liu, I am a work-study student in a middle school. I wanted to save you just now, but the medicine was accidentally taken away by someone." As she spoke, she bit her lip and looked at us timidly and meaningfully, looking very aggrieved. "Who took your medicine?" Jenny immediately got angry. "It was you who pushed the person and dropped the medicine on the ground, how can you blame others?" Seeing Jenny's emotions getting out of control, Elena quickly apologized. "I didn't say anything about you, Jenny. Don't be angry with me, I dare not." "All right." Mr. Liu shouted with a sullen face. Looking at Mr. Liu, my heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the favorability that I had just worked so hard to gain is now gone? In the silent atmosphere, Mr. Liu slowly raised his head and looked at Elena. "Little girl, Mr. Liu is not blind. Did someone just take your medicine?" "I saw it." President Liu sneered, and in Elena's pale face, he said meaningfully, "It doesn't matter if people are poor. Being poor in heart can be fatal." After this episode, Jenny family group successfully won the order. The market value of Jenny's family increased by several percentage points. Jiang Hai was very happy and his originally haggard body felt better. In the original plot, he could not survive the blow of this order and passed away. Now my body has recovered. It seems that Jenny can escape this disaster. Jenny was also very happy. She told me, "Robert has been taking care of my dad during this period." She blushed and said, "He said that his second uncle studied medicine abroad and has excellent medical skills. He has asked his second uncle to come back and perform surgery on my father." "Why are you blushing when you mention Robert now?" I teased her, are you in love with him? No, no. She said seriously, we told you to study hard and get into university first. My father is in poor health, so what I need to do now is to learn how to take over the family business. Let's talk about emotional matters later. It must be said that the current Jenny is very different from the one in the original plot. From a love-brained girl who would bang her head against the wall for a man, to a mature woman who understands her responsibilities. On the contrary, Elena seems to be a little different from the original plot. If you think about it carefully, every time Jenny went crazy in the original plot, it seemed to be accompanied by Elena's provocation. When I thought of this, I held Jenny's hand tightly and said earnestly, Boss, no, Jenny, I think you should stay away from Elena in the future. She said confusedly, indeed, it seems that every time Elena says a few words to me, I can't help but get angry. I kind of disliked her at first, but not to the extent of hitting her. But every time I hear her talk, I get really angry. Then leave her alone. I stared into her eyes, just do your own thing. Only when you focus on yourself, no one can stimulate you. She nodded thoughtfully. She hugged me and said, come on. I'll take you shopping. Woohoo, my sponsor, please stick with me. When we came out of Jenny family group hand in hand, we bumped into someone head on. Before she could even stand, the man grabbed Jenny's hand. Jenny. David frowned and asked, what about your order? Can you give it to our family? David spoke in a low voice, without this order, the David family group will suffer a huge loss. I heard from Elena that she originally wanted to get the order for us, but unexpectedly, you intercepted it in the middle. If that's the case, then it's our family's property, so you can return it now. How can you say such shameless words so confidently? Jenny was stunned, why? Our family also needs this order. Your father's health is not good. Even if he gets this order, he won't be able to support Jenny's family for a few years. David interrupted her, do you think I don't know? You have been studying hard recently and dressing up so beautifully just to get my attention. You are doing this for me anyway, so why not give me this order? As he spoke, he frowned. He seemed very impatient because he had to explain himself. Yes. Because in the past, as long as David looked gloomy, Jenny would give him everything just to make him smile. There was no need for him to go to so much trouble to explain so much. As she said, the idea instilled in her from a young age was to marry David. Moreover, the concept of this world is similar to that of the domineering president's little wife, who only needs to rely on a good man. Even if she does well, it is just to become a man's appendage. When I thought about this, I got extremely nervous. Looking back, Jenny's expression was indeed complicated. She narrowed her eyes slightly, staring at David, her lips tightly pursed. He continued, if you give the orders to the David family, when your father dies, you, a girl, won't be able to support the Jenny family, and this cooperation can continue to give you dividends. It's a win-win situation for you, right? As if he had made a great sacrifice, he said, I know what you are thinking. In return, I can continue to accept the food you cook. But Elena couldn't know that. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Under his impatient gaze, Jenny slowly raised her head. She looked at him with strange eyes, then smiled and said, your King dad is dead. You stinking idiot. Go eat your father's prison food. You are such an idiot, even if you die, my dad won't die. After this, David completely ignored Jenny. He was so angry that his face turned black, pointed at Jenny, and sneered, okay, Jenny, don't regret it. Don't even think about me paying attention to you in this life. After saying that, he walked away. Looking at Jenny who was studying hard in front of me, I tried to hold back but still couldn't help but said, Jenny, are you okay? Ah? She looked up in confusion, what can happen to me? Why, did you suddenly treat David like this? Looking at her face, I felt a little uneasy. After all, in the original text, Jenny is the ultimate love-brained person. Don't be imitating Elena and deliberately being rude to David to get his attention. He actually dared to curse my dad to death. Jenny shook her head and said gloomily, actually, I felt a little uncomfortable before. But there was a faint voice telling me that it was nothing. Until he mentioned my father just now and said that my Jenny family group had no successor, I suddenly felt extremely disgusted. I don't know why I fell in love with this kind of person before. Now I just want to study hard so that I can beat his face in the future. Good thing. The vicious female supporting character is about to awaken. Get rid of the disgusting scumbag and work hard bravely. Jenny began to study harder and even signed up for an English-speaking competition. Soon, my results moved from the top 100 to the top 50 and then to the top 20. As for David, it is said that after missing out on this order, the David family group is no longer as good as before. He became very upset and no longer revolved around Elena like before. Looking at David, who had become gloomy, I sneered. It turns out that the so-called domineering school hunk who is crazy about love also knows that material things are the foundation of spiritual things. Soon, Jenny entered the finals of the English competition. In the original plot, during the English competition, she was worried about by Jenny's family. I can't even take part in the competition. This time, Jenny was invincible and quickly reached the finals. Soon, Elena couldn't sit still anymore. In the audience of the English competition, she stopped Jenny. Jenny. She pursed her lips and lowered her chin to ask her, "Can you not compete with me for this scholarship?" "What?" Jenny raised her eyebrows and looked at her in surprise. "Say it again?" She was wearing a red dress today, which made her already beautiful eyes and eyebrows look even more beautiful. And what a coincidence, Elena was also wearing a red dress today. However, her appearance does not suit the color red, and it makes her look even duller. Elena also realized this. Her face turned ugly, but she still whispered, "My mother is sick. I really need this scholarship." She raised her eyes and looked at her pleadingly. "This money may not mean much to you, but to me, it's life-saving money." Elena had never been so embarrassed before. In the original plot, she had already won the favor of Mr. Liu at this time, and David was also completely devoted to her. "There is no need to worry about raising money for my mother's surgery." Looking at the pitiful Elena, Jenny raised her eyebrows. "Sister, this is fair competition. Let's just rely on our own abilities." Watching Jenny tidying up her clothes and getting ready to go on stage, Elena bit her lip and said unwillingly, "You went abroad with your father since you were a child, and I just grew up in China, so my spoken English is naturally not as good as yours. Is this called fair competition?" Her voice became louder and louder, and people around her began to look over. Under this kind of gaze, Elena seemed to have gained confidence, straightened her back and continued, "Besides, you have never participated in this kind of competition before, and you suddenly participated this time just because you can't stand David being nice to me, so you came here on purpose to embarrass me." Just to compete for David's attention, the poor student was deprived of his scholarship qualification. "Jenny, is this really the right thing for you to do?" As she spoke, she seemed to feel really wronged, and tears rolled down her cheeks. "Stop." Jenny stretched out her hand to interrupt her. "Sister, are you kidding me? Everything comes down to whether you have money or not. Why, does moral kidnapping make you happy?" In Elena's surprised eyes, she continued to add, "Also, don't mention David all the time. Is there nothing else in your world? Can you only see this one man? Why should I study hard because of him? Did you get my consent to spread this rumor? Please wash your brain before talking to me next time, otherwise I will think my ears are dirty." After a round of verbal attacks, Jenny turned around and went on stage. As she spoke fluently, Elena's tears filled her eyes little by little. She bit her lip, stamped her feet under the gazes of the people around her, and turned away. Behind her stood the silent David. He held the water bottle and looked at the dazzling Jenny on the stage. The look in his eyes flickered slightly. This English competition made Jenny famous. Because it was jointly organized by several prestigious universities, someone recorded the event and posted it online, which quickly caused a sensation. "Wow! Whose daughter is this? How can it be so beautiful? She is not only beautiful but also has good grades. I love her." Some people also praised Elena. "This girl is not bad. She looks pure, which is my style." I agree with the person above. They both look similarly dressed. Soon, it was David's birthday party. When Jenny received the invitation, she scratched her hair in annoyance. "I don't want to go. Is there any way I can avoid going?" "I don't think so." I looked at her sympathetically. "There are many celebrities coming to this birthday party. If not for David, you have to go and meet some people for the company." "Ah!" Jenny screamed to the sky, "My life is so miserable." Fortunately, all the custom-made haute couture dresses were delivered this time. This time, Jenny no longer appeared at the birthday party in a dusty state as in the original plot. As we walked to the door arm in arm, we heard a burst of compliments. "Oh! You must be the girl who won the second prize in the English competition last time. It's really beautiful." Yeah. Last time I saw you and the girl who won first prize, you were both from University A and you were wearing the same clothes. Do you know each other? A familiar voice came. You are talking about classmate Jenny. We are not very familiar with each other. However, Jenny seems to like doing the same things as me, and she likes to imitate my dressing style. Elena's voice was forced with a smile. I also thought about being friends with her, but she probably thinks that she and I are not the same kind of people. But it doesn't matter, we are all classmates, I don't mind. It's Elena again. It was strange, why did she always have to irritate Jenny again and again? I subconsciously turned my head and looked at Jenny next to me. The look on her face at the moment, she took a deep breath. Don't let others lead you emotionally. I held her hand and reminded her, fight against them as they come. She turned around and smiled at me. Don't worry, I will inherit the company in the future. This kind of scene is nothing. Jenny smiled at me, and the next second she pushed open the door and said with a smile, hello everyone, I'm Jenny, I'm late. Almost the moment he appeared, the people around him took a deep breath. Under the bright lights, Jenny appeared in a gorgeous black diamond-studded dress, a full set of diamond jewelry, and slender shiny black high heels. With the dazzling makeup on her face, her entire body seems to be glowing. In comparison, Elena in her white dress instantly looked a little duller. Looking at the gorgeous Jenny, her eyes widened in disbelief. As if no one had expected, Jenny would appear on stage wearing this outfit. So this is Jenny. People below whispered, she's so pretty. That Elena just now said that Jenny likes to imitate her dressing style? Don't make me laugh. Jenny has such good taste. Why would you imitate her? In the original plot, Jenny did wear a plain white dress to imitate Elena, and was ridiculed by others. But she is now completely different from the one in the original plot. Next to Elena, David, who was originally a little distracted, looked at Jenny without blinking. Looking at the incredibly beautiful Jenny, his eyes flashed with amazement for a moment. Elena also realized this and bit her lower lip tightly. Jenny, you're here. Amid the noise, Mr. Liu, who was in the main seat, said. He called Jenny over, patted her on the shoulder, and said to the people around him with a smile, this girl saved my life, she is like my goddaughter. You guys should be more polite to her and Jenny family group in the future. After Mr. Liu's introduction, the people around him were in an uproar. Oops. It turns out that the Jenny that Mr. Liu mentioned before is Miss Jenny. My son and Jenny go to the same school. Everyone says Jenny is very famous in school. Yes, yes. My daughter also said that Jenny has good grades and is very popular among her classmates at school. In the original plot, the glory that belonged to Elena now belongs to Jenny. Now she was standing next to David and could only watch awkwardly as these celebrities greeted Jenny. From time to time, people would look at her with contempt and point fingers at her. She stood there, so embarrassed that tears soon filled her eyes. On the other side, David's throat rolled when he saw so many important clients greeting Jenny. He looked at the shining Jenny in silence, his hands hanging at his waist clenched tightly. At this moment, a figure came in front of Jenny. Jenny. Robert stood in front of Jenny and stammered, You look beautiful today. He looked completely different today than he usually did at school. He was wearing a well-tailored black rhinestone tuxedo, with his fine black hair draped over his forehead, revealing a pair of beautiful eyes without glasses. When Jenny saw it was Robert, her face turned red instantly. She also stammered, thank you, you too. There were whispers all around, it's the son of Robert family group. I heard that Robert also transferred to a middle school recently. I thought it was just a rumor, but it turned out to be true. I was shocked. I didn't expect Robert to have such a powerful background. I originally thought that he was of the same social class as Jenny. Unexpectedly, the Robert family, which is as powerful as the Liu family, is behind it. Jenny was obviously also surprised. She looked up at Robert, who hurriedly explained to her, I didn't hide it from you on purpose, I'm just afraid that you won't let me be your tutor when the time comes. You believe me. No, don't ignore me because of this. The boy pursed his lips tightly, as if he was afraid of being abandoned. The look he gave Jenny was also full of anticipation. Amidst the exclamations of oh my God all around me, I suddenly keenly noticed something wrong with my sight. Looking over there, I saw that David's face was almost ashen. He pursed his lips and shook off Elena's hand. He walked straight up to Jenny with a dark face. He suddenly pulled her hand up. Jenny, he whispered, let's talk. Jenny frowned at Elena's sudden pale face. What are you talking about? Jenny frowned and shook off his hand. Just say whatever you want to say. Seeing Jenny like this, David frowned deeply. He was not a person with a good temper to begin with, and even when he was chasing Elena before, he was suppressing his temper. Not to mention Jenny, who had never given him a cold look before. Seeing people around him looking at him, he took a deep breath and continued, I admit, I really can't stand seeing you walking with other men. During this time, seeing you become better and better for me, I originally thought that you were just repeating the same old tricks and didn't care. But I don't know when, seeing you and Robert getting closer and closer, I felt really uncomfortable. You win. He whispered, I really can't bear to see you being with another boy like this. There was silence in the air for a moment. I saw Robert standing there in a daze, and on the other side, Elena's eyes widened in disbelief. Looking at Jenny's stunned expression, David's lips curled up slightly. He softened his voice and said to Jenny softly, Jenny, I didn't see my feelings clearly before. In the future you. No, what does what happens to me in the future have to do with you? Jenny interrupted him. She seemed to have just come to her senses and quickly took a few steps back. He raised his voice and said, I don't understand what you are saying. What does your liking for me have to do with me? Don't be so stubborn. David smiled and said, if you don't still have me in your heart, why did you dress up for my birthday party today? He paused, then added, besides, I also know that the remarks you made to me before were imitations of Elena. So, I won't be angry with you. Are these people mentally ill? Being nice to him is being a bootlicker, and being mean to him is trying to attract attention? Before I could say anything, Jenny sneered, come on, brother, if you are sick, just go see a doctor, okay? Do you think all women in the world do everything to get your attention? Or do you have that Stockholm who just likes to give you a bad look? In this case, I suggest you kiss in the toilet in the future. After all, that's the stinkiest place. If you have the same bad smell, it must suit your taste. After David's birthday party, Jenny worked even harder. In her words, she would pay for the time she wasted due to her previous blindness. What about you and Robert? I teased her, don't you want to develop further with him? Jenny thought about it and said to me seriously, I have a crush on him, but I don't want to be in a relationship right now. My father has been in poor health due to work, and now I want to take over these things as soon as possible so that he can have a good rest. As for other things, we'll talk about them later. She devoted herself more to her studies in preparation for the college entrance examination which would be held in a few months. Meanwhile, Elena unexpectedly disappeared. Ever since she backstabbed Jenny at the last birthday party, she was quickly blacklisted by those celebrities who were afraid of offending the Robert family and the Lou family. The image of the little white flower that she had built up for so long collapsed overnight, and she became depressed in an instant. After David was scolded by Jenny, his image was greatly damaged. The confusing speech at the birthday party was also made into a greasy video and played repeatedly on the internet. He was also nicknamed Toilet Brother. In addition, after the last birthday party, many of the companies present transferred their orders to the Jenny family, who were on good terms with the Robert family and the Lou family. The David family, which was originally a competitor of the Jenny family, is now falling even faster. David is in a state of anxiety every day and has long lost his former high spirits. Seeing Jenny's family prospering, I thought I could finally get rid of the bad luck. At this time, Jenny disappeared. Didn't Jenny go back for tutoring today? Robert's eyes turned red. I don't know. We had agreed to do the test paper together in the evening, but Jenny was missing. I asked the driver and found out that she didn't get on the bus at all. How did Jenny disappear? I tried hard to recall the original plot. But his eyes accidentally glanced at the calendar. March 18th. March 18th. This is the day in the original plot when Jenny was beaten up by a few thugs and her reputation was ruined because she bullied Elena. I dragged Robert along like a madman and rushed to the abandoned warehouse in my memory. Sure enough, when I got close to the door, I heard Jenny yelling from inside, "Get out! Get out of here! What are you doing bringing me here?" Her voice was panic-stricken and she was obviously terrified. A male voice came from the other side, "Girl, don't cry. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for offending someone you shouldn't have offended. If you behave yourself, we can still consider being gentler, if you..." In a flash, Robert kicked the door open and saw Jenny inside, tied to a chair. He picked up an iron rod and pointed it directly at the thugs who were rushing over. When I saw those thugs, I immediately shouted, "Stop. I have called the police." Despite this, my heart was still a little frightened. If she had come a step later, Jenny might have met with an accident. But why? Obviously Jenny no longer bullies Elena like in the original plot. Why was I taken to the warehouse on this day? The thugs were quickly taken away by the police. Jenny was obviously very frightened and was held tightly in Robert's arms as he left. Before leaving, Robert, with red eyes, warned me word by word, "Don't let go of the person who hurt her." I nodded and said softly, "I understand." After spending some time together, the relationship between Jenny and I is no longer just that of financial sponsor and lackey. Seeing her like this, my heart suddenly ached. Without a second thought, I went straight to Elena. When I found her, she was memorizing words. Seeing me coming over, she smiled and said, "What's wrong, Fanny? Why are you sweating all over?" She looked behind me worriedly. "Huh? Where is Jenny? Why not with you?" I said straight away, "Stop pretending, Elena. Tell me, why did you kidnap Jenny? It is just the end of evening self-study and there is almost no one in the school." The smile on her face slowly faded. "What are you talking about? I don't understand at all." "Don't pretend," I said coldly. "The gangster you contacted is called Along. He tied people up in an abandoned warehouse. He has now been caught by the police and is being interrogated. If you admit it now and turn yourself in, you may suffer less. But if you still refuse to repent, you know the consequences." These names were originally the people who tried to please David in the original text and were contacted to help Elena. But this time, David's family fell, and Elena's popularity was not as good as before. I'm afraid she went to find them herself. Sure enough, after hearing me say that Aaron was arrested, Elena stopped pretending. She stood up from her chair, but without panic. For the first time, a mocking smile appeared on that beautiful face. "Yes, I ordered someone to arrest him." "What's wrong? Why do you do this?" I looked into her eyes and asked her word by word, "Why do you always have to pick on Jenny?" When I was reading the book, I was also moved by Elena's perseverance. Therefore, one way to stop Jenny's bullying is to use money to prevent disaster. On the other hand, it was also to make Elena's life better. But I didn't expect that after being stopped, Elena not only didn't get better. Instead, he provoked Jenny again and again, trying to get her to make a move on him. No reason. Elena smiled. "Fanny, I noticed a long time ago that something is wrong with you. I knew long ago that I was the only heroine in this book. If I didn't deprive her of her luck, I would be the one who would suffer." Elena screamed at me, "She has everything. I have nothing. If I don't catch David, what else can I do? Have you ever thought that your luck doesn't need to rely on a man at all?" I squatted down and looked directly into her eyes. "You have good grades and are capable. Why do you have to focus on how to win over a man? Why can't you think about how to improve yourself? Is it useful to improve myself?" She screamed, "Does this world mean that I can succeed just by working hard? Really? In this world, it seems that the only way to succeed is to rely on men. No matter how outstanding a girl is, she will become a foil to the domineering president. How do you know if you don't try?" Looking into Elena's eyes, I said calmly, "Since you know that you are the heroine of the world, you should know Jenny's ending better than me, right? So look at Jenny now? This shows that the rules of this world are not what you think." Before I could finish, Elena interrupted me with red eyes. "That's because you, a bitch, helped Jenny." "I helped Jenny at the beginning. I told her not to cause trouble for you," I said sternly. "Everything that happened afterwards was the result of her own hard work and desire to improve herself. If at the beginning, you didn't try to win the heroine's luck by stimulating her, but instead walked your own way down to earth. With your strength, can you really not live well?" Elena in the original text is clearly an inspirational girl who is more talented than Jenny. But later, I chose to focus my energy on other things. "Stop it." I looked at her and said, "Go and face the punishment you deserve. Maybe there will be a chance to start over again in the future. It's too late." She laughed miserably and slowly took out a knife from her school bag. Just as I stepped back in horror, she put the knife across her neck. Then, swiped down hard. Elena is not dead. I called 120 in time and saved her. But it still left a permanent scar on his body. After knowing that she was rescued, Elena remained silent. She stared at the ceiling, not knowing what to think. "Are you thinking about the bright life you could have had? Or think about whether the previous choice was right?" After experiencing this, Jenny became more determined than before to study. In her words, this group of people was too crazy and she just wanted to stay away from them. When the college entrance examination results came out, she and Robert were both admitted to University A. When heading to the new campus, David stopped Jenny again. At this moment, he looked very depressed. In the original plot, his sanctions on Jenny's family were all passed on to the current David's family. After the family business went bankrupt, he fell seriously ill and was burdened with huge debts. The second half of my life was visibly destitute and difficult. Looking at the bright and beautiful Jenny in front of him, he opened his mouth and asked softly, "Is there still a chance for us?" As if he had thought of something, he said eagerly, "I had a dream yesterday. I dreamed that we were just like when we were kids, and you still liked to follow me. Even when I went to a middle school, you were still the same as before, bringing me meals every day, and you were jealous of me because Elena and I were together. Whatever I wanted, you would give it to me immediately." He talked a lot. But Jenny interrupted him, "David, if I wasn't so outstanding, and was still the Jenny who mindlessly chased after you behind your back, would you still like me?" David stared at her blankly. "You won't." Jenny smiled, "Because before, I was just such a Jenny. But all I got in return was your contempt and scolding. So, stop reminiscing about the past with self-entertainment. People like you will always like people who ignore you and whom you can never pursue. You will never cherish the one who truly loves you." Looking at David, whose face turned pale, she continued to emphasize word by word, "People like you who are not satisfied will never be able to get true happiness in your life." "All right." Jenny stood up, picked up the suitcase and smiled, "I should go now. I hope I will never see you again." She turned around firmly, as if saying goodbye to the bad past, and walked without hesitation. Ahead of her, the sun was shining brightly. The future has just begun.